SOCAN is a MRO, music rights organization, also known as a performing rights organization. We also represent reproduction rights. So one becomes a member of SOCAN by writing a song, basically. Truly, what you do is you need to own a copyright in a work. So if you've written a song and you think it's going to be played on the radio, or you know you're going to perform it in a concert, then you can approach SOCAN and say, I'd like to become a member. The other way to become a member of SOCAN is if you're a publisher, a music publisher, and you own 5 copyrights, so different songs, different works, and as long as you've got 5 of those, you can become a member of SOCAN. To become a member of SOCAN, a creator doesn't have to pay anything. I think the publishers, they're $50. SOCAN is a music rights organization that's part of a bigger picture organization called CSAC. The CSAC is the Confederation of Music Rights Organization in the world. CSAC actually is the network of all of the SOCANs of the world. There's about 110 of them. And so if you're a member of SOCAN, you don't need to be a member of PRS or SACEM or ASCAP or BMI or all of the other PROs in the world. When you become a member of SOCAN, unless you end the agreement with us, you're a member for life. It's renewable every 2 years as of the day you became a member. You can become a member of SOCAN as soon as you've written a song, or a work, sorry. What if you haven't and your music has been used? When can you come back? Well, 3 years back is the rule, and it's the rule around the world. That's a CSAC rule that says you can't go back more than 3 years. The way music users and rights owners, represented by SOCAN, determine how much is paid for the use of music, in Canada, it actually is quite a thing. We have the Copyright Board of Canada, which actually determines tariffs. But the way it works in broad strokes is that the music users will pay a percentage of their revenue to SOCAN, and then SOCAN does the distribution to the rights owners. For example, in concerts, it's 3% of box office revenue. In radio, it's a percentage of the ad revenues. In YouTube, you get percentage of ad revenue. In Spotify, a bit of both. You get percentage of ad revenue and percentage of subscription revenue. So there's, depending on where the money is coming from, the tariff will be applied differently. We take our expenses and we take our whole revenues and we apply those expenses to the revenue. So basically, if we have a good year in collections and we've been good at spending, which we usually are, our rate goes down. It tends to vary from, the past 5 years between 13 and 15%. If you're a member of SOCAN, all of your international royalties, you pay 0% fees on that. The reason why we don't take any percentage or any fee on the international royalties is because the network that CSAC put together, so SACEM and PRS and ASCAP BMI and all of these people, they do the work, just like we do at SOCAN. We do the work of identifying who the rights owners are. Why would we apply more fees to that? They've done the work, we just pass the money on, so that's why we leave it at 0 for fees. We think that's fair. Once a work is created, the creators should be the ones declaring the works. If those creators have a publishing deal, usually it would be the publisher who would come to SOCAN, to the website, and declare the work that you've created. Your responsibility is to declare it, because SOCAN can't know that you've created a work. It's got to be you or your publisher. There's a bunch of people around the creation of a work. It's good practice, best practice, to make sure that you iron that out before you go to the SOCAN website. You should iron that out before you leave wherever it is that you are creating the song in. One of the best practices we know is do say it before you come into the studio. We collect money from people who use music in their business, and then when we've collected that money, we have distribution rules that allow us to distribute the money. Some go to our members, obviously, so usually Canadian rights owners with Canadian songs or works, and we will pay them for the use that's been made of their music. When I say uses, I mean radio, I mean YouTube, I mean cinema, I mean music in audiovisual works. All of those uses, we have, I think, over 60 rules or tariffs that we collect and then distribute. We also distribute to the music rights organizations, the MROs around the world. So, for example, if a song by a British songwriter has been played on radio, we will collect from the radio, but we will send the money to PRS, which is the MRO of the UK. As a SOCAN member, you will be paid 4 times a year. So February, May, August, November. You'll get your statements every time you get paid. So 4 times a year, you get a statement. You don't get a statement through the mail. You actually get a statement in your secured profile on the website of SOCAN.com. You go there, you will see first the amount, what it relates to. Who declares that to SOCAN is actually a two-way street. So one way is the music user, and you would think, in layman's term, music user could be the person that's playing the music. It's the promoter, the presenter, that's who we refer to as being the music user. That's the person who gets to use the music to make business. So they're the ones selling the tickets. When we say that, it could be you, but let's keep it at, there's a presenter, there's an art center. They're the ones who come to SOCAN for a license for use of the music. Minimum $35. You, as a SOCAN member, if you've performed works in a concert, you should declare to SOCAN that you have, or your works have been performed, or you performed works, but that should be done as well. The venue will declare that it presented a concert, and you will declare that music was performed, and this is my set list, basically. At SOCAN, we'll join the revenue that the music presenter sent us, and we'll join your set list, and we'll know this money is going to these rights owners. Very simple, but it seems simple, but it does get, we need for people to tell us that concerts happen. We need the set list, because you can't just say, oh, it was so-and-so that played, but so-and-so might have played the song by ABC. So it's not just as simple as one for one. And by the way, if you're a SOCAN member and you're self-promoting a concert, sometimes you'll think, why do I need to pay a license at SOCAN? Yes, you do. Well, 2 things. 1, SOCAN has a minimum license fee on concerts that's $35 per concert. But we also have a minimal distribution rate on concerts that's $75. So if you declare, pay $35, get $75. Not a bad deal. Second reason you should do it is to build the continuity in your career. And when a promoter asks you, should I be calling SOCAN for something, you can answer yes. And if they ask you, do you do it when you're self-promoting? You can say yes and be proud. It's a good way to make sure that fair use of music is done. By the way, if you've done concerts on Facebook since the lockdown, SOCAN has a program called Encore, where we pay a Facebook concert as, just like a concert that took place in the real world. We have conditions. You can go to the website and see those, but basically you need 1,000 views. The concert needs to have been promoted. It needs to be more than 45 minutes, I believe, and so on and so forth. And then we'll treat it as a concert, because they replaced concerts, let's face it. If you perform works in the public domain, those should also be declared. You may have arranged those works. You may have changed the lyrics if you're doing traditional music. You may have hired an arranger to work on that. So any public domain works that you've worked on, basically, or that you've adapted or you've made a distinguishing change to, those should be declared. And if you're performing them but you haven't changed them, good policy to declare them as well.